and gentlemen, here we are, live once again. I'm coming in a little late today. We normally been doing this thing at 6 o'clock, but today we coming in at 7 because by all right, I was not going to do a show this evening. However, in light of recent events, and like I always say, this just never seems to end. It's always something. And because there's always something, I always got something to say, because I will do nothing more. If I don't do nothing but keep you enlightened and keep your head in the game, then that's what I'm going to do. That's my job, you dig? Val, I see you. Thank you for checking in today. I see you. I appreciate y'all for coming and hanging out with me every day. I appreciate every bit of it. So look, I've been feeling some kind of way today, y'all. I woke up this morning with a thought. It was like it woke me up. It got me to thinking about some things, and then I didn't feel like it was enough to have me going in, you know what I'm saying? But I would add it to a later show, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start with this because it's something that made me, gave me something to think about. And now also let's keep in mind, I see you, Phyllis, thank you for coming by. Let's keep in mind of all these recent events. I don't know if anyone saw the press conference this morning from the Brooks family, but it was very, very, very intense. And right off the top, I want to say this right here. And this is just something that woke me up this morning. What if, and I know this is going to probably sound crazy to y'all, but check this out. What if the United States, for whatever reason, I mean, we already know the Constitution is in place. We know we got, some type of checks and balances in the game and everything. But what if the United States decided to fire, kill off, or deport all non-essentials or non-productive people in this country? I want y'all to think about that for a second while we get started. Hang tight. All right, here go the deal, right? I don't know what made me think about this, but we're looking at COVID and we're looking at all other stuff that's going on, and it's back on the rise and it's doing what it's going to do. But ask yourself this. What if, for some reason, because I heard people talk about population control, right? But what if there was an intent for people who were of the non-productive type in this country to be eliminated? The question is, where would you fit on that food chain of survival? Where would you belong on there? What are you capable of that would make you a person that they might find useful? That's just some random shit that popped off the top of my head this morning. But I'm going to get to what's really bothering me today, y'all. So today I saw some things that disturbed me from some of my own people. In light of the shooting Friday of Rayshard Brooks, having watched all of that video myself, minute for minute, I've noticed quite a few disturbing things that I am very confident that that family's lawyer is bringing to light that is going to cause a lot of problems for the Atlanta Police Department, as well as in particular that officer in that case. One of the interesting things that I thought about was they talked about, and I thought about this when that officer fired. Now I remember hearing him fire 3 shots. Those 3 shots, and the autopsy report came back, he had been hit twice, once in the buttock and once in the middle back. So having been hit in those 2 places, where's that 3rd bullet? Well, the lawyer today on national television, on CNN Live, held up a picture of an SUV that had been parked nearby with a bullet hole in the bumper. The man and his family had been sitting in that vehicle, and had those shots been a foot or 2 higher, that particular family would have had a tragedy of their own. Which brings us to what the necessity here is in regard to police reform, in regard to justice, and what needs to take place and the way things need to change. But my fear is this. They can put whatever they want on paper. They can make sweeping legislation. They can put all of these different things in place for law to make it illegal for an officer or anyone else to act in particular manners that is a danger to the public. But what about the hearts and minds of men? What about the hearts and minds of the individuals who are so willing to take life because they feel some kind of way, because they feel that they are better, that the people that they are dealing with are beneath them? This is a systemic problem that has been a part of the fabric of America since its inception. These are the things that we have to remember. It's going to be decades, if not longer, before the hearts and minds of those who need to be changed do. In other words, that old blood almost has to die off before things will be different. And this within itself is a problem, because even within our own lifetimes, my grandfather, who will be 96 years old on his birthday in September, has seen all of the dramatic changes within civil rights and the rights of blacks and so on and so on. World War II vet, he's seen it all. And within that 100 years, can we all only imagine how far we've come, yet how little we've traveled? We got a long way to go, y'all. So it got me to thinking some more. And I got to thinking about these officers and other situations that I've even been included in myself. I want to stop and say hello to everyone. Thank you for checking in. If I don't acknowledge you individually, I want you to know I'm recognizing you, and I appreciate you coming by and hanging out with me while I do this rant, because that's pretty much what today's show amounts to. But as we speak about our people out here, the danger, the minefield that we as black men walk every single day when we step outside our doors. And nowadays, we don't even have to step outside. We can be right in our own living room, eating a bowl of cereal, and have our life taken from us because someone made a mistake, and then be charged with defending ourselves. We always manage to fit the description. We always get detained because they're doing their investigation. Meanwhile, you're in cuffs in the back of the squad car, if you're lucky. We have over-policing in communities that have been stripped of opportunities. Somehow they always manage to smell weed or alcohol in your car. Gives them a license to falsely accuse that they have probable cause to search your vehicle or detain and harass you. Somehow, there's always a tail light out just when they're looking. No other time. See, and I'm not talking from what I heard. I'm not speaking from what I've seen on TV. I'm talking about some of my own experiences. First time I had a gun put to my head was 15 years old in front of my high school. Why? Because of some overreaching, overzealous police officers who felt like they wanted to be Starsky and Hutch, or whatever you want to call what they were back then, jumping out of their cars with their great big guns, trying to intimidate children and scare us, and try as hard as they can to put a felony on somebody to ruin our future and our lives. 35, almost 40 years ago. But guess what? Nothing's changed. Something got to give. The camel's back really hadn't broke yet. It's coming. It's got to come. It's going to be inevitable. Their hand is going to be forced. We drive while black. We die. We sell loose cigarettes while black. We die. Walk home with a pack of Skittles. We die. You can put on a nice suit. You can say yes, sir, and no, ma'am. We die. You can legally possess a firearm with all of your Second Amendment rights in place. We die. You can raise your hands and surrender and still die. You can play with a toy gun as a child and still die. Take a jog in your neighborhood and die. Mind your own damn business and still die. Watch a movie in your living room with your significant other under your arm. Have your door kicked in and still die. Attempt to defend yourself, the lives of your family, and the people you love, and die. You can have degrees, 3, 4 of them. You can still die. You can give speeches like Dr. King and Brother Malcolm X that empower your people. Inevitably, you will die. Even if they don't kill you physically, they will make every effort to take away your dignity and to kill you psychologically and take your position and twist it so that your people no longer listen to you. And effectively, you can die. This is the tragedy that we live. But what bothers me is this. When after all of this, somebody who looks like me, who shares my skin color, and I know as they always say, skin folks ain't always your kin folks. When someone who looks like me tries as hard as they can or finds a reason to blame people's death on the dead people, not the ones who did the killing, but the one who died, have we become that conditioned? Some people have been conditioned so well that being treated badly is so normal to them that they believe that there's nothing wrong. They're the ones who can accept the fact that the man will stick a knife in your back 12 inches and pull it out 6 and say, I did you a favor. They believe that. They've been conditioned. How do you bring yourself to make an excuse for someone who would kill others who look just like you? I apologize, ladies and gentlemen, but I struggle with that concept. That young man did not have to die Friday night. That was the ego of someone who felt superior and who basically felt like he got. Now, here's a man who obviously was intoxicated based on what I saw in the video. Now, that's my opinion because I would have to use the word allegedly. But my opinion is that, yes, he was inebriated. And yes, he did have what I thought were some pretty funny answers to some of the questions. However, here's a man that they couldn't seem to wake up. He turns around after they attempted to cuff him and gets the best of both of them. Takes one of their tasers and runs. Now, at best, that should have ended with a laugh. Like, damn, dude, got y'all. But it ended with a death. Why? Are you telling me that officer's ego was so large that he couldn't stand the fact that a man that he patted down and he knew was not a threat took a taser from the other officer and ran off. And they couldn't have said, okay, well, we got his driver's license. We know where his car is parked. Hell, we'll get him. No big deal. He is not a threat to anyone. The man stood there and smiled and made jokes. One thing about the video that stood out in my mind the most is how human he became in these videos. How you almost felt like you knew the dude or you know somebody just like him. And the fact that after all of that, the only thing that this officer could think to do while he was running away was to shoot him twice in the back. He attempted to shoot him 3 times and he got him twice. Well, he's going to pay for that. And I want to make this clear. One of the very things that stands out in my mind about this particular case, about the Ahmaud Arbery case, and about the George Floyd case, and I'm using these 3, and Breonna Taylor. I'm going to use these 4 cases for my point. Not just because they are the most recent cases, but because out of these 4 cases, can anybody think of what you didn't hear? I'm going to tell you what you didn't hear. You didn't hear the typical kumbaya, we forgive you. We forgive you because that's what God would want us to do. We haven't heard that. Personally, I'm glad we haven't heard it. I'm tired of hearing it. I'm also tired of the things going the way they've been going. Here we are now. Things are changing. The climate is changing. It's getting very hot, y'all. It appears to me that by some of the responses from my own people is that it ain't just white folks that ain't listening and that ain't paying attention. And I, for one, am happy that things are beginning to turn. One thing is for sure, many of us have been conditioned. Some of us have been conditioned well by those who taught us how to behave in situations like this. Because the way we've been doing things hadn't been working. And if y'all notice, things are starting to work a little bit. See, protest at this point is not going to be the end of this. Nobody is going home. Nobody is sitting down. Nobody is starting to be quiet. See, the hope was, and I'm going to show you, and I'm going to tell you, at first everybody was hollering about that officer needs to be arrested. That officer needs to be arrested up there in Minneapolis. Them officers need to go to jail. So instead of arresting the 3 officers, they allowed all of this to escalate. It escalated to a point where the world is watching. That's a good thing. So while we want it, and see, this is why I always say, a lot of times people, they trip on me when I say certain things, but I'm going to say, this is one of the reasons why sometimes the things that we want, no matter how bad we want them, they're not always the best. Sometimes you got to wait. You got to wait for the game to play out. And now that the game is playing out, if you look back at it, see, hindsight being 2020, when you look back at it, you could say, it's a good thing that they didn't arrest them officers right away, because then everybody might have sat down and been quiet, and then it would have been business as usual. But since they didn't, now there's a national movement taking place. There's movement like we've never seen before. And it ain't just us. Finally, for once, we got people from everywhere on our side. Finally, people are requesting, demanding justice. They're demanding it in an equal fashion. It's about time. Now it's time to move on all of that. So here's what's going to happen. Everybody figured, well, these people will go sit down somewhere now. We got arrested these officers. No. See, now, inevitably, not because we just jumped out there deliberately, but inevitably, we're ending up with an agenda. And right now, the agenda globally, not just nationally, has become police reform. It now speaks to police overreach. It now speaks to police brutality. It now speaks to new training and all of the things that are going to be necessary in order for our country to heal and for my people to begin healing, because we got a long way to go. A lot of damage been done. 400 years, it's a long time, baby. And like losing weight, you can put that weight on, but you don't just lose it faster than you put it on. If it took you a year to put it on, guess what? It's going to take you a year to get it off. So with that said, if it's taking us 400 years to be conditioned to this degree, with all of the damage that's been done, somebody better hope that it don't take us 400 years to straighten it all out, because it ain't going to be pretty. Now, I want to bring up my last point for the day. I'm going to tell everybody within the shout and sound of my voice, protect yourselves. Here's why. You know, I feel kind of funny, y'all. Let me stop for a minute. You know, I'm feeling some kind of way, and I'm gonna tell y'all, I never intended for this show, The Black Factor, to sound so ominous, so depressing. I hope I'm not depressing y'all. I really do. This show was designed so that I promote my book and the ideas I put within this book to help and educate and bring our people along, especially young black males who need some guidance, some game, a little bit of information and some knowledge and some questions to ask themselves in order to be better men. We need better men. Sometimes some of these young males do not have the opportunity to be put in front of an old bull to learn what needs to be learned in order to be a provider and a protector and take care of what needs to be taken care of in our communities in particular. Because if our men were running our communities the way that they should, a lot of what you're seeing wouldn't be taking place. We have been destroyed in so many words from within. We have allowed infiltrators, agent provocateurs, and people who mean us no good to enter our realm. And once again, some of them look just like us. All your skin folks ain't your kin folks. We got to do better, y'all. Now, I'm going to get back to my last point. So, I found out over the last couple of days that there have been, in the last week or so, at least 3 hangings. 3 that I'm aware of at this time. I've heard as many as 5. But here today in Houston, in fact, they found a Mexican fellow hanging from the bridge in Houston. There have been 2 in California over the last couple of days. One guy named Robert Fuller, 24 years old, from Palmdale, California. Another gentleman, Malcolm Harsh, 38 years old, in California, in Victorville. Listen, y'all, I don't know where all of this is going. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know who's going to be the crash test dummy for some folks' stupidity. I don't intend to be one of them. I'm going to suggest that you all take the time to make sure that you are secure, make sure that your families are secure. I don't know, again, what's coming. I don't know what folks have on their mind. I don't know what people got planned. I don't know what some of these militia groups and segregationists and white nationalist organizations have up their sleeve. I don't know. All I can say is make sure you're over your shoulder. Make sure you're paying attention. Make sure that you're ready for these situations as they come to pass. And that includes even with, unfortunately, some of these overzealous law enforcement. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm usually pretty good at predicting some of the things that may take place, but I'm at a loss on this one. I guess because everything is so new that, and we've never behaved or moved the way things are moving right now. And because of that, while it's new to us, it's also new to everybody else. So just like we don't know what they're going to do, they don't know what we're going to do. I don't mean for this to sound like some sort of a battle plan, but I mean, let's keep it 100. But something that I've noticed, this was another one of those thoughts as I awakened this morning. America has been taught, or should I say, Black America has been taught to follow deceased leaders. Now, what do I mean by this? Dr. King was not nearly as popular when he was murdered as he is today. Malcolm X was not nearly as popular when he was murdered as he is today. The systemic racism and those who perpetuate it managed to kill off some of our greatest voices and thinkers when it came to where we needed to go, who had an order of things, who laid out a plan, who made movements work, constructed boycotts and put them in place. However, we haven't forgotten. See, this is what you call making a martyr. They didn't count on the greatest of these to become greater later, but they have. You know, I have a theory that I talk about, in fact, in the Black Factor, that they stopped physically assassinating black leaders because they realized that they were creating martyrs. So rather than assassinate them physically, they learned to do character assassinations. When you do a character assassination, it destroys the movement behind the man. This is why you hear so many negative things about the Reverend Al Sharptons and those like him of the world. They always manage to try and dig up some kind of dirt to make you feel like you shouldn't be following him. He's beneath you. We allow other people to continue dictating the narratives to us about how we should feel, about who we should follow, and about what we should listen to. And these are people who have nothing, no interest whatsoever in our betterment. Agent provocateurs, who again, many of look just like us. Skin folks ain't always your kin folks. I'm going to say it till you get it. You got to watch who you're dealing with. The thing is, though, the messages of these people that they murder, which includes George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Rashawn Brooks, Breonna Taylor, and needless to say, the list is long and it goes on. See, they represent a leadership inadvertently, not that they wanted to be leaders. They become leaders who we now follow and use as a way to make sure that justice is served. They now lead us. They are now our ancestors. They've joined the ancestors and they are now a part of where we need to be going, what we need to be getting done. So now we remain in lockstep with our deceased. And we will continue to bring forward the ideas of who they were, what they believed in, and the reasons why they should still be here with us, but are not. So, ladies and gentlemen, I said all of that to say this. None of us want to join the ancestors right now. Many of us still have a lot of work to do here. Some of us have work to do that is going to be for all of us. Everybody has a part to play. They have a role in this play to make it the best production that it can be. We all have a job to do. Whatever that is, ladies and gentlemen, find your place in it and let's get it done. I want people of color who care anything about those around them and their own families stop finding a reason why this young man should be dead. Because anytime you say something like, he shouldn't have resisted like that, the ancestors wail, a tear falls, because you know not what you say, despite how smart you may think you are. Learn something. Pick up a book. All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I'm going to leave you with this disclaimer. It is not my intent to create turmoil or make you feel sad. It is my job to make you uncomfortable. I'm going to do that. And sometime I'm going to make you feel good. But I'm still going to stick a thorn in your side every chance I get, just to make sure you alive, paying attention, and ready to roll. But in the meantime and in between time, ladies and gentlemen, we have a new sprouting of strange fruit. Be on the lookout for that. And as these stories develop, I will, of course, be bringing them to you to let you know what's really going on and what needs to happen. So far, 2 of these have been labeled suicides. And we're finding out that it's not really even a possibility. But this is what's being said. So with that, we gotta be diligent, and we gotta pay attention and see what's happening. And like I said, as that thing unfolds, we're going to discuss it further. Now, tomorrow night, y'all, 6:00 p.m. right here on the Black Factor, I will be having a guest telephone interview with a young lady who is a COVID survivor, a coronavirus survivor. Not just one of those who caught it, got sent home, and talked about how painful it was, and they worked it out and they got over it. I'm talking about somebody who literally, and this for my dance community, was at an event in Detroit, of all places, contracted the coronavirus, went home, ended up in the hospital 2 days later, and spent 75 days in the hospital, much of which was on a respirator, and 2 weeks in a coma. So, ladies and gentlemen, she will be with us tomorrow to tell her story and to reinforce and reiterate why it is necessary for us to pay attention to what's going on and not be falling for the okie doke like these folks is trying to tell everybody. Oh yeah, keep on going out. The economy got to be open. The economy might be open, but you're going to be dead. If that weren't true, your own mango maniac would not be making people who are coming to his rallies sign waivers and disclaimers so that he is not held liable in case they get sick at his rally. If this were not true, all of the government buildings and tours and state buildings would be open, but they're not. I need y'all to pay attention. Ladies and gentlemen, it's real. It's real out here in this field. So you better get with the program, or I will be sending arrest in power to you. Don't let that happen. I'm out, y'all. Love, peace, and chicken grease, baby.